To make a famous item that comes out of New Orleans. I don't know if you've heard of oysters Bienville. Well, the topping for oysters Bienville is made with these ingredients. And this also can be a topping for a piece of broiled fish, sauteed fish. So we're going to make the shrimp Bienville topping, and I'll make a note of what it can be used for. I won't take the time to show you how to cut things, only the celery, so you know everything has to be this size. They call this brunoise. Just a small dice like that. You could put everything into a Cuisinart and pulse it and get the same effect, but I'm doing everything by hand only because I want it perfect. Even the shrimps have to be cut up small. And the only thing that we're not cutting up, okay, pieces like so, because don't forget these are really going to shrink up when they get cooked. And this time we're going to make a little roux. I'm not using cornstarch or Wondra. We're going to make a little roux to thicken this up, and that's about equal amounts. That's a tablespoon of flour and a tablespoon of butter, and we're using butter because in this item this has to taste nice and rich, and also it has a little bacon in it. So what's the difference? Okay, you see that? That roux is absolutely too thin, because I must have put more than a tablespoon. So we'll go another half. It doesn't matter if you have this left over. Just to show you the consistency is correct now. You don't want it very loose, and you don't want it very thick, just like so. And this hopefully will be enough to thicken up what we have later. We don't waste this. I'll use this for stirring. What are we going to do? We're going to saute all of this. Add a liquid, milk, cream, fish stock, oyster stock, whatever you have. When I was in New Orleans, since it was used for oysters Bienville only, then we used what they call oyster water. That's the liquid from the oysters when they shuck them and can them. Anyway, so we're going to saute the Holy Trinity plus some garlic, the celery, the mushrooms, the onions, the shrimps, the bacon, which is diced up. And the reason why everything has to be diced up fairly small, it's a topping. You don't want it lumpy sitting on whatever it's sitting on. It could be used for a small bouchée or a little pastry shell with a piece of oyster in there and this topping with a little cheese over it. So, and my garlic puree, which is garlic and olive oil, which I make. So this is going to saute. We forgot one item, the green pepper. Okay, now we're in business. I seem to always forget something when I'm doing a video. I'm going to season this later. Why? Because it's in a sauce. So it's not like cooking a steak where you have to season it first so the flavor gets in there. This is a great item. But what I am going to put in there is a little thyme, find recipes that use Cajun, Paul Prudhomme's Cajun seasoning. Others don't. There's nothing wrong with doing it that way. But I'm just going to put thyme and cayenne pepper to make it hot. And salt to bring out the flavor of everything that's in there. This has to be a little spicy. Why? Because it comes from where? New Orleans. So we're cooking here with a high flame because the shrimps are going to give off a little water, so will the mushrooms, of course. This is a great item. Just by looking at the amount I have here, this topping would go well in a stuffed lobster, on two pieces of filet of fish, which I'm going to make a recipe for. That smells great. But in another few seconds I'm going to add the cream, or if you had fish stock, you can add fish stock or oyster water or milk. So I'm putting the cayenne, I'm not measuring the cayenne pepper. Yeah, might as well. We're going to make it hot. We're going to put an eighth of a teaspoon. That's quite a bit for that little amount. And if that's not enough, then we'll go another eighth of a teaspoon. Just about ready. I could just eat this alone over a little rice. We'll put a lot of heavy cream in there and throw it over some pasta. Yeah, 1,000,001 things you can do with food. Okay. What we're trying to do here is cook the vegetables a little bit. Another important item I forgot. I have to go get it right now, and that's the white wine. 1/4 cup of white wine. Smells great. Let that soak in there. Reduce. As soon as that's just about gone, I'm going to put the heavy cream. Add the roux, and we're going to be finished. So as long as this item is the right consistency, and it tastes good, whatever you put it on, believe me, will taste good. That's 1/4 of a cup. And 1 tablespoon. 1/4 of a cup. Now we'll give this a mix, and we'll add the roux. And watch how quickly that thickens it, because I don't want to reduce this anymore. So how do you not waste the roux? I'll show you. First of all, we put it in there. It's thin enough where you don't have to use a whip on it, because it's not going to lump up on you. If you make it too thick, of course it will. And we don't need a high flame now. We'll lower that. This has to be thick. So in order to get the rest of it, what you do is take this, put it in there, mix it around, picks up the roux. Look how thick that got immediately. And I think that should be enough. So that was for this, just to let you know, that was 1.5 tablespoons of flour, and maybe 1 tablespoon and a drop more of butter to make it loose like that. There, all the roux is used, even what's on the spoon. And that's good, thick like so, because this has to sit on top of whatever it's sitting on top without rolling off. Now I'll just add the amount of sea salt that we need, taste it again, see if there's enough cayenne pepper, and that's it. Now when this is used on top of whatever it's going on top of, cheese is also placed on top. Maybe a little shredded Swiss, a little Parmesan. Almost forgot the scallions and the fresh parsley. And now we're done. The amount of cayenne was like perfect. I feel it in my throat. And the salt. This has to be highly seasoned because sometimes what it's going over. So if it goes on an oyster, like oysters Bienville, you don't season the oyster. The oyster's on the half shell. This goes on top. The cheese goes over and you bake it. So just like that I'll eat it. Great.